I wish we would have got the job done the first time.
The first time, she was too young to fight Iraq, but one young sailor in Indianapolis tonight echoes the feelings of many Gulf War vets. This time, they say they want to finish the job. Good evening. I'm Tom Cochrun, the Washington Now, and Sandy Gilmore with the latest.
The attack was swift and limited, intended as a last warning to Saddam Hussein. From the Kitty Hawk and bases in Saudi Arabia, the Pentagon says more than 100 U.S., British, and French planes roared across southern Iraq. An array of fighter bombers and other aircraft, including the stealth bomber. The round-trip mission lasted about 3 hours, but the planes spent just 30 minutes pounding 4 missile sites. The president actually gave the order Monday, but bad weather delayed the operation.
Let me simply say that once again, the American military in coalition with strong allies has performed in a superb fashion. Our planes are all accounted for.
The missile batteries and associated radars and other infrastructures were located around the southern no-flight zone, where Saddam Hussein has been playing a shell game, moving them around, placing Allied patrol flights in jeopardy.
The targets were fixed sites, which were installations associated with air defense, and mobile missile sites both.
To help prevent further Iraqi border incursions, the president ordered a battalion of Army troops to Kuwait. That almost 2 years to the day the U.S. began the Gulf War. U.S. forces in the region, denounced as evil by Saddam, remain on the alert. Saddam has declared a holy war, though his UN ambassador is promising to obey all UN resolutions now. President-elect Clinton pledged to continue the Bush get-tough policy with Saddam Hussein.
How I handle him depends on how he behaves. I mean, I can't for the life of me figure out why he did what he did in the last few days.
President Bush said he had no reservations about taking the action with just 1 week to go in office.
No, absolutely not. I'm president till the 20th, and I will run the foreign policy and make these kinds of decisions as long as I'm president.
And in a New York Times interview that just hit the streets, Clinton said he would not rule out renewing the ground war against Iraq if that's what it took to get Saddam Hussein to comply with those UN resolutions. But Clinton also said he's ready for a fresh start with the Iraqi leader. Sandy Gilmore, NBC News, reporting live at the White House.
Thank you, Sandy. The big question now on many Americans' minds is what will happen next? Joining us to look at the Pentagon's options is our military analyst, retired Colonel Bill Abel. Bill, from a military point of view, what has happened so far?
Well, Tom, as we are all aware now, a massive airstrike of about 116 total Allied aircraft have pounced on the missile sites and their command and communications control and radar surveillance in southern Iraq, south of the 32nd parallel, about 6 major sites. We can recap that by taking a look, if we want to, at our map. And during that period of time, we can see exactly what did occur as a kind of an update. During that period of time that those strikes were launched, the Kitty Hawk aircraft carrier is located, as we see here. Its aircraft, along with aircraft from bases within Saudi Arabia, launched strikes against all of these missile sites at, near, or on the 32nd parallel, including an area around Basra. They primarily took those out with the HARM missile initially, which fly down the radar beam and neutralize its effect.
Bill, we understand that the president has deployed what you called a fat battalion, what, about 1,000 troops to keep Kuwait secure? Is that enough?
Yes, it's a battalion task force, Tom. Can reach up to about 1,500 people total because it will contain its not only combat, but combat service and combat service support personnel, medical, engineer, reconnaissance, signal, air defense, and so on. They will go into pre-positioned equipment, probably within 72 to 96 hours, be on the ground. It's a battalion task force capable of performing training missions. They're there as a deterrent and to show a resolve, and obviously this force will be in place as President-elect Clinton becomes President Clinton next week.
Colonel, in about 10 or 15 seconds, what kind of advice are Pentagon strategists giving the White House tonight? What do they expect Saddam to do next?
Well, they're going to give him a breathing period of time right now. If he doesn't, deeds are not words are what we're looking for. If he doesn't, in fact, do it, then we'll hit him again, and this time with a bigger hammer.
Colonel Bill Abel, thanks again for your insight. The after effects of the United States strike in Iraq are being felt here in Indiana. Kevin Rader now with the story from Fort Benjamin Harrison.
It's a scene reminiscent of some 2 years ago. At the height of the Gulf War, Americans huddling around the television. From left to right, Joshua Kersey and Gary Bailey were in high school then. Now they're in the Army, stationed at Fort Benjamin Harrison.
So you're on the other side of the line. You know, it's a different look.
The look is unsettling for Jenny Brown and Lorelei Bish. The two seaman apprentices are awaiting orders to ship out. It could be to the Gulf.
I'm very scared. We've always been this world police, you know, perspective, and I think it should end.
Across the room, a Gulf War veteran just tries to control her anger.
It makes you mad. They take so many months out of your life the first time, and they don't let you finish the job. And here it is 2 years later, and now you have to go back. That's not right. They should let us finish it to start with.
At Grissom Air Force Base, just north of Kokomo, it's a day of practice runs. Things have changed in the last 2 years. Heavily involved with refueling missions and troop transport during the Gulf War, the base is now scheduled to close. The emphasis is on helping military personnel make the transition to civilian life. In neighboring Bunker Hill, the pro-military sentiment is flourishing.
He didn't follow the rules, and let's get him.
Like 2 years ago, the Patriots are poised to do just that if called upon. Like the rest of us, they're just as curious to see what tomorrow will bring. Kevin Rader, WTHR Indiana's News Channel 13.
The Indiana congressional delegation is mostly supportive of this latest action against Iraq.
The decision of President Bush to strike military targets that threaten patrolling American aircraft was clearly justified given repeated Iraqi violations of the Desert Storm ceasefire accord.
Saddam Hussein has violated the no-fly zone in both the north and the south. He's moved these missile units around, endangering our pilots. He's gone into Kuwait on a limited basis, but nevertheless he's violated the UN resolutions there, so he had to be dealt with.
Congressman Andy Jacobs says he supports the decision to bomb Iraq, but not without some concern.
Apparently the purpose of the raid, more than anything else, is to convince Mr. Saddam's colleagues that they should kill him, that they should assassinate him, or else they're going to be bothered by belligerents from the United States from time to time at any provocation. If that is the purpose of the raid, then I think it's probably a masterpiece of wishful thinking.
Indiana's junior Senator Dan Coates also supports the attack against Iraq. Now it is your turn to speak up in our exclusive Pulse survey. Do you support the attack on Iraq? Dial 239-1013 to vote yes or no. So far, 75% of those, actually 70%, say yes, 30% of you say no. We'll have final results later in this half hour. The Allies are once again taking on the Iraqi military, but many observers say the real enemy remains Saddam Hussein. And once again, the question arises, what can the United States government do with him? Hudson Institute analyst Jim Wheeler says direct assassination is out of the question, but there are options.
I think that there are ways with the UN's help that we could apply much stronger pressure on the regime. We can begin to much more strongly support his opponents and seek to push for the fall of the regime.
Wheeler says that someday that support could go as far as helping to arm Iraqi dissidents. A U.S. serviceman killed miles away in another trouble spot has been identified. 21-year-old Domingo Arroyo becomes the first U.S. military casualty of Operation Restore Hope in Somalia. Arroyo was killed Tuesday in an ambush in Mogadishu. Family and friends gathered outside his Elizabeth, New Jersey home today. Those who knew him describe Arroyo as a man of values and decency. He was a Gulf War veteran. He also earned a special ribbon for his part in the liberation of Kuwait. The driver whose school bus dragged a little girl says he would rather stay behind the wheel. And just days before the holiday, his second-generation king pushes to keep the dream alive. Highlights from her Indianapolis appearance are next.
Weather Department, all but southern Indiana, some light snow flurries out there right now. That's part of the story. On the weather map, you can see how cold it's going to be overnight. Temperatures down into the teens for us. Will we have slippery travel in the morning? I'll check on that, and also when the sun returns.
Buying a used car can be a little scary, regardless who you buy it from. Try as we might, we don't always find every problem, and believe me, we try. That's why when you buy a used vehicle from Blossom, we fully protect you with our 30-day, bring-it-back, 100% price protection guarantee. In other words, at Blossom Chevrolet Geo, you can't get stuck with a bad used car or truck. We won't let you.
Lordy, they're good people.
Food, service, and food. The veal piccata.
Crab Alfredo.
Well, there's lots of choices on the menu here.
My grandmother's very Italian, and she loves their eggplant parmesan. Their breadsticks are out of this world.
Pasta fazool.
It's an all-around good restaurant.
The hot meatballs with the cheese.
The salad is always so fresh, always so tasty.
Portions are really good size. They always make sure you have as much as you want.
They even have room for dessert. They have outstanding desserts.
People are really nice and the food's really good. It's a perfect combination.
Steve Epke on the high residue performance of encapsulated partner herbicide.
Encapsulation allows it to shed off of the residue and get to the soil surface.
How about convenience, Steve?
I like working with a dry herbicide like Partner because it's easy to handle, it's easy to mix, and it's easy to measure.
Get the earlier, stronger, longer performance of timed release Partner with the convenience of a dry.
We've had excellent full season control of grasses with Partner.
To demonstrate why Best Buy is a great place to buy a computer, we've shaved this man's head. Now, everyone knows that the brain is divided into two halves. The analytical side sees Best Buy 0% financing, no payments or interest for 6 months on all computers. Meanwhile, our creative side is thinking about all the different things it gets to play with from this offer, like this Packard Bell 46SX with a 107 meg hard drive, 2 meg memory, a monitor, printer, and more. The left side notices that it all adds up to just $15.48. Both sides are happy.
Here's a helpful hint for happier viewing.
Avoid remote control finger cramping. Keep it here on NBC and watch The Tonight Show.
With Craig T. Nelson, Faith No More, and Marissa Tomei. Then you don't have to do a thing to catch Susan Sarandon on Dave's show. Plus singer Dan Baird. Period. All tonight! Exclamation point.
Madonna. She brought you sex. She brought you erotica. Now she joins Brian Gumbel for an exclusive preview of her new movie, Body of Evidence. Madonna, tomorrow morning on Today.
A Wayne County School Board president says he has mixed emotions tonight as his board sends a popular bus driver into retirement. That driver's 24-year-old career with the Nettle Creek School in Hagerstown ends on a very sad note. The Henry County prosecutor tonight says, though he will not file criminal charges against 65-year-old school bus driver Ralph Kendall. Kendall was behind the wheel last month when his bus dragged a first grader 3/10 of a mile down a county road. Her coat got caught in the car as the bus pulled away. Tonight, the school board accepted Kendall's retirement. Kendall tells the news channel's David McAnally he didn't want to leave the job, but was told by a school official to resign or face other action. He says he feels badly for the victim and thinks about the incident every day. 7-year-old Ashley Dickey suffered 2nd and 3rd-degree burns on her arms, shoulders, and legs. She hasn't returned to school yet. Meanwhile, the superintendent says the incident did not prompt new safety orders.
We have bus driver meetings every other month, and part of that agenda every other month are safety factors. Probably every driver out there has more of awareness of the safety situation because this was an accident, and all of us live in the real world recognizing that something that's tragic hopefully does not happen to us, but it could. And I'm sure it alerted all of us probably more to a safety factor.
Howe says Kendall was last year's school bus driver of the year. A Speedway couple is recovering from a 3-day ordeal. Their son had held them hostage. It ended early this morning when police killed the gunman. 44-year-old Fred Bitus died from a single shotgun blast after he pointed a gun at the Speedway Police Chief Jeffrey Dine. The gun misfired. Bitus recently broke up with his girlfriend, and his only son had a brush with the law. Before the shooting, Bitus broke out the windows of the house and stood on the porch firing his handgun and shouting into the night.
He would come to the front door every so often, and he'd yell obscenities and things incoherent, and he'd go boom, 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 and slam the door and go away, and then he'd come back to the door again. I assume they were probably corresponding with him by telephone. I don't know. But this went on for a period of almost 2 hours.
His father was hit by stray pellets. He is in stable condition at Methodist Hospital tonight. A man wanted for attempted murder is tonight's street sweep target face. 31-year-old Sean Coleman is alleged to have tried to smother his wife. When that failed, to kill her, he stabbed her several times. She survived, and Coleman is charged with attempted murder. He's 5'11" and 195. It is not certain he has maintained his goatee. If you know Sean Coleman, call Crime Stoppers. The Supreme Court delivers a victory for anti-abortion advocates. The High Court ruled that lower federal courts cannot stop protesters who try to block women's access to abortion clinics. Meanwhile, getting an abortion in Indiana could soon get more complicated. At least 3 proposals already filed in the legislature call for further restrictions on abortion. Indianapolis Republican Michael Young is pushing an informed consent proposal. It would require doctors to give women information about alternatives to abortion. The bill also calls on doctors to discuss the development of the fetus.
And why other people from Planned Parenthood and the NOW organization and all these other radical groups out there, why do they oppose women having knowledge is beyond me.
Opponents say the legislation is intended to intimidate women from seeking abortions. Young says he hopes informed consent would result in fewer women going through with the abortion procedure. The eloquence and vision of Dr. Martin Luther King was apparent tonight in the speech of his daughter, Reverend Bernice King. She says we must continue to dream and to celebrate our difference, our cultural diversity. Reverend King says we must make the Bill of Rights and the Constitution more than mere paper.
In a very real sense, the real battles have just begun. We are now at the crossroads of living in the past boulevard and stand still and do nothing avenue. And we must realize that the key to the future of America will be found in our ability to meet people where they are and to accept them as they are. No longer can we afford to live in the illusion that the world revolves around you.
Reverend King spoke to a full house, part of the Martin Luther King celebration of Methodist Hospital. Bernice King was 5 when her father was shot. NASA endeavors to launch a new satellite in this latest shuttle mission. We'll have details, and Bob Gregory has the earthly forecast. It's all next.
Liftoff.
Can other sales and clearances beat the bankruptcy reorganization pricing at Highland? Absolutely not. Can Highland do more? We're going to do whatever it takes. So right now, because we know this is the most popular time of year for big screen TVs, Highland announces 6-month same-as-cash financing on all big screen purchases. This, in addition to the lowest profit margins in our history on everything, including the big screens. Consider it more proof that at Highland, we're not about to let your business go anywhere else.
In place after place across the Midwest, more and more soybean farmers are switching to no-till. And the pre-emergence herbicide they choose most is Preview, the only one with burn down and season-long control. Preview, the no-till herbicide.
For 12 years, Tony and Teresa Torres have had their life insurance with American Family.
When the children were born, we knew we needed to add more life insurance.
The Torres family also has American Family auto and homeowners insurance.
We just feel secure with American Family.
Loyalty, the mark of satisfied customers.
American Family Insurance.
Look in the white or yellow pages for the American Family agent nearest you.
Northwest Indiana is experiencing its worst case of flooding in over a decade. The continuing rain has put the Kankakee River over its banks, and the water is not draining, so no relief is in sight.
With all the snowfall they're having all around the nation, I mean, it's going to be a wild spring, too. Before we get to weather, I'd like to take this opportunity to mention his passing as president of the Press Club, but really extremely significant tonight. Take a look at this, if you will. Our anchor man, Mr. Tom Cochrun here, joins a distinguished group of individuals that have been awarded the Sagamore of the Wabash. For those of you that don't know, this is the highest honor which the governor of the state of Indiana bestows on an individual for personal tributes given to those who have rendered distinguished service to Hoosiers. And our congratulations.
Well,
That's very, very nice.
Thank
That's
you.
neat.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Governor, and congratulations to Donna Imus and Gary Miller, the new president and vice president of the press club.
That's
Good
super.
luck.
I got to touch one and the seal and everything here.
Thank you.
Congrats. That's great. Okay. Hey,
Thank you.
how about some weather here from, 9 o'clock until early this afternoon? Winds gusting over 30 miles an hour. Put a real chill in the air today, and it's not going to leave anytime soon. We still have some flurries around, but not enough to track or cover that I would need. Speaking of tracking in snow, check this out for an animal print. Open up the backyard and Mr. Moose paying a visit there. This is up in Duluth, Minnesota. Decided to come to town. Duluth, look around for a little while and just see what's going on out there. Folks tried to get him back out into the wild, but he didn't leave. And in that icy city, they need some good hot news this time of the year. So that's it. Morgan the Moose will hang on for a while. Flurries outside right now as you take a sky cam look at the capital city. Pair of 24s, both officially at the airport and downtown. West wind at 3, so we have a 4 wind chill temperature. Barometer continues to rise at 30.24. You can see the swirl of clouds now around the storm center, which has left our area, but still continuing the low clouds, flurries because of the area picking up moisture from the lakes. Western New York, some spots 6 inches of snow. 4 inches in the Boston area, and it's not over with yet. Out in California, another major storm is coming in there. The Los Angeles Civic Center, 2 inches of rain. Mount Wilson has had 4 inches of rain, and more is coming. What we'll see now, not a great clearing tomorrow, still just light flurries around for us, not enough to cause any problems or really be too concerned about it all. Here's the map for tomorrow. Area of high pressure will set up. Then this gets into play late Friday, the way we see it now. Once we get rid of that, maybe some sunshine. Forecast for us overnight now is cloudy skies, still a chance of a few flurries around anyway. The overnight low will come in at 20 degrees. During the day tomorrow then, more clouds, nothing more than a passing flurry, high of 27. Northwest wind 5 to 10, cloudy cold tomorrow night, 18 will be the low. Period of snow maybe late in the day or Friday night then. Leftover flurry for Saturday. Write it down in the book. Sunday is supposed to be our day of some sunshine anyway, so we'll try that out with a high temperature of 36. That's it in weather. We'll see you tomorrow.
And if you're missing the countenance of our colleague Ann Ryder, she is not feeling well tonight. Speedy recovery, Ann. The Space Shuttle Endeavour launched a satellite late this afternoon, just 6 hours after takeoff. The 2.5-ton tracking satellite will serve as a giant telephone switchboard in the sky, capable of relaying volumes of information in just 1 second. 4 similar tracking satellites are already in orbit, but only 2 of them are fully operational. Near the end of the mission, astronauts will venture outside for a 5-hour stroll in space. We're back with more of the News Channel tonight, right after this.
Now, not only does Hooks promise the best prescription service in town, we deliver. Free prescription delivery from Hooks Drugstores.
Stan Welker talks about the high residue performance of encapsulated bullet herbicide.
It does not concern me at all, the residue, because I know the bullet will penetrate right through it. It always has for me.
So how about control, Stan?
And it's just clean. There's no grass, there's no weeds.
Get the earlier, stronger, longer performance of timed-release bullet herbicide, even in no-till.
It just works in all different conditions.
When you wake up, our eyes and ears are already monitoring the metro rush hour traffic. Watch NewsCenter 13 Sunrise, beginning at 6 a.m. to get your day started right.
If it's midnight and you're half awake from getting half a night's sleep under the half moon, grab your half pint and get to Lazarus half-off betting sale and decide which half-off deal is best for you. It'll only take half an hour or so. Choose from Sealy, Serta, Simmons, or Stearns & Foster. For example, get a twin size for just $59.99 and get a whole night's sleep at half the price at Lazarus half-off betting sale, Saturday only, for a whole 14 hours.
If you're combing the want ads for a job, beware of promises that guarantee you a position. Con artists are behind some phony employment ads. Bruce Kopp has more in tonight's Kiplinger Money Matters.
Alan Berry is an experienced carpenter. All he needs is a job. But in Decatur, Illinois, construction jobs are scarce. So when he spotted an ad like this offering good wages and benefits, he jumped at the chance. All he had to do was pay $270 and wait for the phone to ring.
I was excited, and then as time went on and I heard nothing, and
every time I contacted them and got let down and put on hold for a little while longer, it just, you know, I'd much rather have the job than have my money back.
And as the complaint file grows larger at the Florida Attorney General's office, the story is always the same.
We got a complaint from a woman who had sold her furniture and was waiting to be contacted.
This sort of thing started in Florida after the hurricanes, and we think it may be moving around the country now, and the offer is, we've got a job for you, we can guarantee it. The catch, of course, is to get this job guaranteed, to get it held for you, they want you to send money. Again, this is the point you should hang up the phone.
There are legitimate employment agencies that do charge a fee, but it doesn't have to be paid up front, and it's usually paid by your new employer.
I also had a friend that put up his business and paid for him and 4 other guys, which come to about $1,500. And he hadn't heard a word. He just packed up and moved to Texas because he hadn't heard anything.
If somebody tells you there are a lot of jobs in this area, calling the state or the local employment agency might get you a lead for a legitimate job. You know, don't turn away and assume there are no jobs there. Just be certain that there's no guaranteed job there that you can secure by sending money through the mail.
With Kiplinger's Personal Finance Report, Bruce Kopp, WTHR Indiana's News Channel 13.
We would like for you to arm yourself with information, so send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to Mail Order Fraud, WTHR, Post Office Box 1313, Indianapolis 46206. Well, you've probably seen pictures of Mookie the Wallaroo on the lam from the Indianapolis Zoo. While Mookie wasn't sure where to go, Alfredo found a home inside a McDonald's restaurant. Zoo workers in Melbourne, Australia aren't sure how the monkey got inside the Golden Arches. They figure some people wanted to have some fun, took him out for some real food. One zoo worker happened to stop at McDonald's and saw Alfredo running wildly around the restaurant floor. The worker caught the monkey, but not before Alfredo took a nice bite out of her. It wasn't on the menu. Oh, the Boilermakers. Don Hein has the latest right after this.
New Cavalier, $79.90.
At Blossom Chevrolet GO, you don't pay for factory options that you don't want.
Lordy, they're good people.
Salsa, please?
Miss? Salsa?
Some people will do anything to bring home the great taste of Chi-Chi's salsa.
Could I have some salsa, please?
What they don't know is they can simply buy it at their grocer's.
Haven't I seen you somewhere?
No, I'm a different guy.
Chi-Chi's, the only leading salsa from a real Mexican restaurant.
Salsa.
Why, yes.
Chi-Chi's salsa, hot, medium, or mild.
This machine is designed to perform thousands of complicated tasks, millions of times. But occasionally, something goes wrong. Pain, weakness, loss of feeling can signal a carpal tunnel problem. Now, in many cases, a simple surgical procedure can correct carpal tunnel problems without hospitalization. If you have hand pain or weakness, there is help. A message from the Zollman Center for Plastic and Hand Surgery.
Well, the bad luck bug has bit the boilers, huh?
That it has. A little alliteration as we start tonight. Hey, we're gonna watch a really wild Purdue game and have a talk with Glenn Robinson in a second, but you may never see this again. Tell me the truth. Have you ever seen Baseball Hall of Famer to be George Brett and Olympic champion Christy Yamaguchi on the same ice? Brett said his previous toughest challenge was Ron Guidry's.
But toughest.
The smallest but toughest for George. Well, now let's get to the hoops. Now, get that Indiana-Michigan game out of your heads. That was a classic matchup. I think both coaches, Katie and Jackson from Purdue and Wisconsin, were hiding their heads a lot tonight. 46 turnovers in this one, 23 each. The game was intense, as we'll document in a second, but neither team was impressive that way, says Gene, in the way it protected the ball, but neither was looking for cute. A win was the object. Now, I told you this one was intense. Boiler freshman Porter Roberts was trying to make a defensive impression on Wisconsin's Tracy Webster. It netted Roberts and Conzo Martin a double technical, and Gene Katie got in on the deal, too. Wisconsin dropped 5 of 6 free throws, Purdue 2 of 2. Now, we got the action of the coach right after the ball game.
Well, it was one of those situations where I thought Finley should have had a technical. Stu thought I was talking to him, and I wasn't, and
I probably said an adjective that I shouldn't have in one of the sentences, and, you know, it's one of those things heating the battle. But when I walk off the floor, I forget about it. So it's one of those situations where I didn't like the way Finley acted, and that's not any of my business, really. That's the referee's business.
Okay, Coach. Glenn Robinson gets a career night almost every time he hits the floor. Tonight he had 31 points, 14 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 5 assists as the Makers got their first Big Ten win, 76-60.
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. You know, I'm happy with my career performance and everything, but I mean, I'm not going to try to go out there and break any records and nothing like that. It's time to look forward to the next game. I mean, who knows? Against Penn State, I might score 2 points, so that's what you have a team for. Someone else have to step up.
That is correct. Here is another Big Ten headbanger, Iowa and Minnesota. And watch as the Hawkeyes having a bit of trouble even throwing down the easy ones. But big AC Earl came to the rescue with a lane runner, and Iowa wins 84-77. Ohio State was a victor tonight, but no, check that again. Let's make this correct. Michigan State in the upset over Ohio State, 77-60. Here are the rest of the scores for you here. See the Iowa victory and the Michigan State victory. Then Penn State gets its first by a deuce over Northwestern. Ball State beats Ohio University 78-64. Vanderbilt upsets #1 Kentucky 101-86. Franklin a winner over Wabash. Denison beats Earlham. Rose-Hulman beats DePaul. DePaul led by 6 if they haven't got beat by 23. And Hanover by Anderson by a whole bunch there. Well, to Duke and Wake Forest. And is easily seen why Bobby Hurley is so valuable to the Devils. Not that he isn't an excellent scorer, as Indiana fans will remember last year in the semis, but he makes all the rest of the Dukies play better. Now, people have asked me if I thought he'd be a good pro, and I think he will be a good, solid player. Duke wins this one tonight, 86-59. Hey, this big fella's a little easier to predict for pro action. Lawrence North, Eric Montross, North Carolina, and a good Georgia Tech team. Eric shows you that he can play both ends of the court. 80-67, North Carolina the winner there. Now, on to the pros, and our Pacers looking for their 3rd straight this Friday, home to Cleveland. And one of the reasons they're playing better is the bench. And Kenny Williams, he has really improved a lot, and he kind of wanted to spread the praise around.
Lately, the second team has been coming in and playing a consistent role. I think we worked real hard. We played real good defense the first game or two. I think everybody now is just basically playing together, and good things are happening for us. We're helping one another out there and covering each other's back, and I think that's what the key to winning is.
Jim Kelly practiced with the Buffalo Bills, but will he be 100% on the starter this weekend against Miami?
I don't think either one of us will. I mean, I don't know if it'll be 100% by Sunday, but you look at any player this year that's been going through a 16-game schedule and 4 exhibition games. I don't know if there is a player in the National Football League that's been starting that is 100%.
And the winners in the county tourney, Tom, were Brebeuf, Ben Davis, Franklin Central, and Lawrence North. Our pulse survey question, do you agree with the attack? 82% of you say yes, 18% of you disagree. Bob, in about 6 seconds tomorrow morning?
20 degrees, flurries at 8 o'clock. We'll top out at 27. Still some flurries. Sun on Sunday.
Good night.